Hey, this is another Twilight Struggle AAR, and today I'm playing the USSR. There's another person from Wargame Room, so I start off with an EU safe build, and the US player starts off with 4-3 at West Germany and Italy. Standard start. I look at my hand, all US cards except for Fidel. There's CIA created in there. I do have NATO, which is always great, and my favorite combination, 5-year plan, duck and cover. I make a mistake here, which is not use NATO for the coup. I don't know why I didn't do it, but I dropped down a duck and cover, which is a really, really bad move, and it essentially means he gets to coup back Iran, which he does, and gets one crucial point on there, which means that the gates are open for that entire region for the US, which he does use to create a strong presence in Asia, and I'm pretty much forced to play catch up the entire time. In the headline phase, he does score Europe, and I waste mine on independent reds pretty much because they've got no points there, and I didn't really have any better cards to use for my headline. I do have 5-year plan for the CIA created so that I can get 3 ops from it rather than 1, and I use it to really push into the Middle East. I make a small mistake here. Should have put the point into Egypt to lock it out, but I don't know. I think this game was done really late at night, and it'll show because I do make a few more mistakes later on. So turn 2, decent hand, nuclear test ban, socialist governments. I have Nasser there to really mess around with Egypt, and that's what I do. Nasser goes into Egypt for a headline, and opponent, I believe, scores Asia. I coup Libya, so I've got 3 ops there, and I'm really got Middle East dominated. Right now, I start to play my cards to ensure that I have Middle East domination because I'm going to be leaking points somewhere, and I do have UN intervention in my hand, and I really want to keep that later for turn 3 just in case I have a US heavy hand, just like the first turn. I have Vietnam revolts, and I choose not really to use it right now because I'm really concerned with getting Middle East scored because he hasn't really moved into Asia, and so it sort of shows his hand that he doesn't have Asia scoring right now, so I can focus on Asia next turn, hoping for D-style or decolonization. I really need to get some points onto the board, and I believe he ends up using blockade to remove desalinization, which is okay because I get the turn 3 reshuffle. I use Nazi scientists, and I managed to use it for 2 points. Okay, so turn 3, decent hand. I've got decolonization, De Gaulle, duck and cover. Because of my earlier points placement in turn 2, I do have 1 point in France, so I use duck and cover as a pseudo coup to get a nice stranglehold into France, put a point to Algeria to start off my run into Africa. I do know that there is going to be an Asia scoring soon because of that reshuffle, and I didn't see it scored before, so he's definitely got in my hand, and I use all 4 points from decolonization into Asia because I really don't want him to score domination there. This truck has to keep moving. I even use my China card to gain control of Thailand just to make sure. So right now I'm sitting pretty. I think the US player adds points into Japan using NATO, which is good. Oh, no, Marshall Plan, which allows me to use the US-Japanese pact later on for just 3-4 ops. Asia scores for nothing, which is beautiful, and I believe in the up point tracks I am up by around 4 or 5, which is decent for for just starting mid-war. Would rather see it higher. I start to focus my points into Europe. Europe has yet to be scored due to the reshuffle, so I want to have a strong base there. And because I wasted decolonization, I don't really have a presence in Africa, which sucks because in turn 3 I have Africa scoring in my hand, a bunch of 2s, and the US-Japan Mutual Defense Pact, which I love. I open with a headline with Africa scoring. He opens with grain sales, hate that card. It steals Camp David Accords, which he uses to coup on Algeria, which fails. Great for me. I get scored 2 points of Africa, so I'm sitting around 6-7 points. During my turn, I still am holding that UN intervention, which should have helped me, but because grain sales stole a card off me, I can't use it, lest I skip and give him my turn 7. So Asia's been scored, that's fine. Africa's been scored. It's about me fighting for the Middle East and Europe right now. And I make a critical mistake this turn. I forget to focus on Europe despite of my earlier efforts. And because of that, he ends up able to score it for presents each, just adding 1 more point. So it's at, yep, there we go, -7 right now. With my 2 points hand, and what I normally do for small point hands, I focus on the defensive play and shooting them off into space. Yep. So right now, just trying to I'm trying to affect the areas I can affect. And the U.S. has complete free reign over the Americas right now because I don't have de-Stalinization, liberation theology, even Fidel. So, however, because of my focuses on the other regions, he is too distracted to put points into Mexico, Panama, or even move down to Colombia, which I would rather spend my 2 ups cooing. I'd rather not be using them to be placing points anywhere else in this world. Probably should have put points into Gulf states. So, yep. There's a bit of thinking time here, which is fine. Turn 5, I have a decent hand, which has Middle East scoring, which is great. We will bury you. Fidel, finally. But it also does have colonial rearguards. So I open up with Fidel. I really want to affect there. And I get missile envied. I do have nuclear test ban, which I use. Bring it to DEFCON 5, which forces me to use the missile envy to coup Thailand to give as much of a buffer as possible. He coups Thailand back. Maybe Southeast Asia scoring card. Maybe not. And unfortunately, he rolls a 6, which brings it all the way down to a 1-1 control of Thailand. Yep, there we go, 1-1 control of Thailand. Because of my cards, I need to make as much of an impact as possible. I decided to keep We Will Bury because DEFCON 2, I really want to probably open with it because my points are moderately high. I'm around 7. And I probably want to win next turn. After I score Middle East, I'm at -11, and it put me to prime consideration for winning next turn or the turn after before late war starts. So the U.S. player does a Suri River skirmish, and he takes the China card, not using it for its maximum potential. And it's probably the main reason why I keep the China card when I reach mid-war as USSR. Don't really want to see it hit me. For full strength. Using kitchen debates, I'm pretty much just trying to spread as much in Central America as possible because every other region I can affect has already been scored. Colonial rearguards, I've planned to shoot into space. Don't really have any other danger cards in my hand, and I'm sitting pretty at -11, which is good. I'm mostly afraid of right now because I do have shuttle diplomacy, and if the game goes on for too long past turn 7, I could end up having big problems in Asia and the Middle East right now. But I end up having pretty much free reign to spread around the world. He does get coups off, and he shuts off Cuba in the turn 5. In turn 6, however, I headline We Will Bury You, knowing that it can't be stopped, and by US, and he ends up headlining Lone Gunman, which pretty much just ends the game. I coup a random country. So that's it. Thank you very much.